I never imagined that a simple evening at home would spiral into something so complicated, the kind of moment that sneaks up quietly and leaves a lasting echo in your mind. But there I was, walking down the hall after finishing some chores, thinking the house was empty, except for the faint hum of the television in the living room, when I heard a sound from his rumor-soft, hesitant shuffle that made my stomach twist. A sound one immediately recognized, yet wished I hadn't, and instinctively I paused outside the slightly ajar door, my heart beginning to pound as my eyes fell on him, my steps slowing as I realized what I was seeing. A mixture of shock and disbelief flooding through me in waves that seemed to push the air out of the room. And for a moment I froze, unsure whether to knock, to leave, or to step inside, torn between instinct, curiosity, and a strange, unnameable pull, the air thick with tension that made every small noise the creak of the floorboards. The soft click of his fingers over the sheets feel amplified, unbearable. And yet I couldn't look away, couldn't force my eyes to turn, because something about the way he sat there, vulnerable and unaware, struck a chord deep inside me that I didn't fully understand, and before I could stop myself, I found my body moving, taking careful, deliberate steps toward him, my hands trembling as I reached the doorway. The reality of what I had stumbled into pressing down on me like a weight I couldn't shrug off. And when our eyes met, the embarrassment on his face mirrored my own confusion, a silent acknowledgement that we had crossed an invisible line, one that neither of us could deny, and in that suspended, fragile instant, I felt a strange, almost impossible combination of emotions, shock, shame, fascination, and an undeniable warmth that I fought to suppress, but the moment had already taken on a life of its own, tugging us both into uncharted territory, and I knew, deep in the quiet of my mind, that nothing would ever feel the same after this, that the house, our routines, even the air we breathed, would carry the weight of this encounter in ways we couldn't articulate. And yet, in that surreal quiet, I felt compelled to act, to bridge the gap between the panic in his eyes and the strange, confusing desire to reassure him. And so, gently, cautiously, I moved closer, speaking softly, offering words meant to calm, but laced with a tension neither of us could ignore. Hands hovering uncertainly as he flinched, a blush creeping across his cheeks. My own face hot with a mixture of guilt and something far more complex, and in the slow, deliberate way we navigated that first instant, I realized that boundaries had shifted imperceptibly, that a new, delicate connection had formed between us, fragile, dangerous, and intoxicating all at once. And from that first wordless exchange, the days that followed were charged with an unspoken energy. Every glance, every incidental touch, every casual proximity now weighted with meaning we hadn't acknowledged before. The house itself seemed to hum with the awareness of what had passed, rooms filled with the tension of silent communication, the kind that required no sentences to convey, and yet even amidst the thrill there was a constant gnawing edge of shame, a recognition that what we were skirting was forbidden yet irresistible, that each day, each moment alone, each quiet evening brought us closer to the same precipice, and I found myself lingering in doorways, offering subtle comfort, watching him with an intensity I couldn't explain, but marveling at the way he seemed both innocent and knowing, aware of the tension yet equally caught in it, and sometimes when our hands brushed or our knees bumped while reaching for something mundane, the air would crackle with a heat that left us both startled, pulling away quickly, eyes averted but hearts still racing, and in the quiet of those nights I replayed every movement, every glance, every soft word, wondering if I had crossed too far, yet unable to deny the thrill that pulsed through me, the dangerous intimacy that had woven itself into our everyday lives until eventually it became a rhythm, a hidden dance of tension and release, moments of shared laughter or conversation that lingered just a second too long, a hand resting near mine on the table, a brush of shoulders in the kitchen, each seemingly innocent gesture now layered with meaning we could neither speak of nor entirely ignore. And though every time I caught him watching me, or I caught him in one of those private, vulnerable moments, I felt a wave of both guilt and fascination. I also recognized the strange magnetic pull between us that refused to be denied, building with each passing day, until one night, when the house was quiet and the usual hum of appliances was all that broke the silence, I found myself in his room again. Not with intent to intrude, but drawn by a desire to witness, to connect, to acknowledge the unspoken. And in the soft glow of the lamp, we shared a look that said everything and nothing, a fleeting moment of understanding, fear, and something far more intimate. And though we never spoke the words aloud, the space between us vibrated with the memory of what had passed and the anticipation of what might come, a delicate, invisible thread tying us together in a secret world we had created, one filled with tension, curiosity, and an undeniable, dangerous closeness. And as I quietly left the room, leaving him to his own thoughts, I realized that our dynamic had shifted forever, that the quiet house, the familiar furniture, even the smell of the air carried a weight now, a hidden awareness, a pulse of connection that was ours alone, a constant reminder that a single moment, a single glance, a single choice could redefine the boundaries of a relationship entirely, leaving traces of both guilt and desire in its wake, shaping every conversation, every interaction, every shared space, until there was no pretending, no ignoring, only the delicate navigation of a forbidden intimacy that had begun with something as small as a doorway, as fleeting as a glance, as powerful as the acknowledgement of our own human complexity.